LeBron James, in my opinion, is the greatest player of all time. I think LeBron is the GOAT. And I'm going to be talking about this just in general and why I believe as much. And this is not going to be like the weird LeBron Jordan debates where somebody puts down the other player and is like, oh, LeBron is this or oh, Jordan's this in a negative way to try put down the other player. I'm just going to be talking about what LeBron James has done that nobody else in the history can do, has ever done. And I think there are players in general in basketball that you can argue are the greatest ever. I think you can argue, obviously, Michael Jordan is in that conversation. Michael Jordan's unbelievable. He is who was, in most people's eyes, the greatest of all time. Until now, it's at the stage where I think it's probably close to 50-50. And like Kareem, I think you can argue Wilt, to be honest. But what LeBron is doing in his career, I don't think we'll ever see again. And if you guys agree, heck, if you guys disagree, doesn't really matter. We're trying to get to 220 subscribers by the end of the day. But yeah, so if you want to look at LeBron James' accolade list, he is a 4-time champion, 4-time Finals MVP. He's won rings with 3 different teams, Finals MVPs with 3 different teams, 4-time MVP, and I'm not going to say he should have won more. And I'm not going to be like one of those people saying, like, realistically, in his prime, he could have won every year. But I think KD deserved in 2014. I think Steph deserved in 2015 and 2016. I think Russ, because no one ever thought anyone could ever average a triple-double, deserved it in 17. I think what Harden did in 18 was crazy. Giannis obviously deserved it in 19. I think in 2020, Giannis was having one of the greatest individual seasons of all time. He won Defensive Player of the Year MVP, and the Bucks were on track to win 70 games. LeBron might have won if the season finished, but Giannis deserved it, and then after that, obviously, no. But he's a 20-time All-Star. He has made 20 All-Star teams. 20. And not only has he made 20 All-Star teams, like, he's going to make a 21st, and he's probably going to make a 22nd. And this is not like, oh, he's making these teams based on his name, like a Yao Ming or a late career Kobe / Dwayne Wade. No, he's making these teams because he's an all-star. The guy's going to be an all-star into his 40s. He's made 13 All-NBA first teams. The man's made 20 All-NBA teams. 20 All-NBA teams. There are definitely some debatable ones in that, by the way. Like, should he have made 20? Maybe, maybe not. But, like, the guy made 11 straight All-NBA first teams. 11 straight. Like, it's crazy. And again, second in Defensive Player of the Year. All defensive first team 5 times. Like, that's not easy to do. He has 3 gold medals and an MVP in the Olympics. He's about to turn 40. He has reached a level of longevity where he is so good at basketball at 40 that his team drafted his son to keep him happy, who does not belong anywhere near the NBA. He is so good that at 40 years old, the team trying to keep him happy drafted his son. He has had, in my opinion, the longest sustained greatness in sports. In a fully, like, sport where you need absolute elite athleticism that we've ever seen. And I know you could use Tom Brady as an example, but it's a bit different when you're a quarterback in football and you can just where you're passing the ball. What Brady did was unbelievable. I'm just trying to think of players like, maybe you could argue if Djokovic holds it on for another 4 years, maybe you could put him in that conversation. But I don't think so. I think it's LeBron. I think it's hard to argue anyone other than LeBron in that regard. And for me, it's just what you value in as greatness. Because again, I think there are perfectly good arguments for Jordan, there are perfectly good arguments for Kareem. But for me, this is a level of sustained greatness that we've never seen. Like, LeBron James, I don't think he's the best player in the world. I think he's probably somewhere between 5 and 10, especially over the course of a season. But you could argue in a one-off game, LeBron James is, if you literally had a one-off game and had to pick one player to pick, you could make an argument to pick LeBron James. I wouldn't. I would pick Nikola Jokic over him. But you can make an argument for LeBron at number 1. And that has been the case since the day I became the day I really started becoming a basketball fan. Like, I'm Irish. I didn't get to see Jordan. I didn't really get to see that much of peak Kobe. Like, I only started watching NBA stuff on grainy YouTube footage when I got internet in my house in 2007, because basketball wasn't on TV. And from that day, from, let's just say, I think it was probably early 2007, from early 2007 till 2024, from me being 10 years old, I'm pushing 30. Like, I'm 28 in a few weeks. From me being 10 years old to pushing 30, an argument could be made that this man is the best player in the world. And we've never seen that in sports, and we probably won't ever see that again. Especially in basketball. He has an unbreakable scoring record. No one is going to touch that scoring record. No one's going to be close. By the end of his career, he's probably going to have 2 more years of averaging 23, 24 points per game. And you can see it. Like, yeah, he can't keep up that level of, like, sustained greatness over 82 games. But if he's willing to just go and chill, 65 games? Take 17 games off a year and play in the playoffs? He still could be a top 6 or 7 player at that stage. I'm convinced LeBron James could be a 15 point per game, Draymond Green-esque, Nikola Jokic-esque, high post type offensive facilitator, run the offense through him out of the high post type power forward center, like almost like on the men's side of like an MMA Simon or like a Jokic, or even what Draymond does on offense. I think he could do that when he's 50. I think LeBron James could average 15, 7, and 7 at 50. And I don't think that's a crazy statement. Like, we're never going to see another LeBron James again. And whether or not you think LeBron James is the greatest, whether it's LeBron or Michael Jordan, I'm not sure we ever see a Michael Jordan again. Because, like, especially the timing of it, it was the growth of basketball, it was how he played, it was be like Mike, it was everything. The, for lack of a better word, aura will never be the same. We'll never see another player like that in the history of basketball. The closest thing we've ever seen to that type of mania is either Steph Curry during his like ascendancy in 2015 or 16, or what Caitlin Clark is doing right now. LeBron, as great as LeBron was, he didn't have that kind of, as much hype as there wasn't that whole like, even if we're not basketball fans, we need to go and see him like those players had and what Michael Jordan had. But we're never going to see a LeBron again. We're just not. We will never see another LeBron. Like, these players right now have too much miles in their legs. We're not going to see someone disciplined enough. We're not going to see someone consistently do what he's doing, not get injured, especially with the way the pace of the game is. It's going to be harder and harder for players to get their legs under them for that many times. That long. For LeBron to have the career that he's had, it needed to be a perfect situation of a guy's God-given athletic ability combined with up there with the highest IQ, one of the top 20 players as far as basketball IQ we've ever seen, one of the top 5 players athletic-wise that we've ever seen, with one of the top 10 levels of discipline we've ever seen. And also, like, the fact that he stayed hungry after 21 seasons. The guy's a top 5 to 10 player going into the year 22. We're never going to see that again. So, whether you believe that LeBron is the greatest of all time or not, we're never going to see another LeBron again. We might see a player that is so good at basketball that they go and win 7 straight rings that they're just better than everybody else. And Wemby might go and do that. We've seen what Wemby can literally guard 4 people by himself. There is a possibility that Wemby with the right team around him, or even 2 right players around him for their career, go and rattle off 5 straight rings. And we then start to see, is he in the GOAT conversation for a different way? So I think it's possible to see a player that is so good at the sport that they rattle off 5 straight rings or 6 and 8 years, like a Michael Jordan. I don't think we ever see another LeBron. I genuinely don't. And the fact is, I'm happy that realistically I started watching basketball, started coming onto TV in that 2006-2007 season, the start of LeBron James' prime. That I got to see that playoff run 2007, and I got to see what LeBron James did winning MVP in 2024. And it's crazy that as somebody who, in my own life, played the sport, took up the sport at like 8 or 9 years old, played it to the level where I got to represent my national team. I got to play in the top league in my country. I got to play with and against like former G League guys. Then obviously injured, coaching, YouTube crap, everything I've done in basketball. Throughout all of it, I get to look back on my entire life on a sport that basically consumed my entire life. And at every single point, LeBron James is right at the top in the world. And I'm not young, which is the scariest part about it all. We are never seeing another LeBron. So I think it's now at the stage where it's like, look, the debates are fun. The LeBron or Jordan debate is fun. But we got to at least stop looking at it from the perspective of how do we put down one of the greatest athletes we've ever seen.